Welcome, I'm Anime Octopus, and you've stepped into a realm where imagination reshapes your favorite anime stories. Today, we explore a fascinating twist. What if Naruko had more than a shadow clone? Part 3. A quick heads up, this channel is all about entertainment and discussion. I do not own any of the anime footage used, full credit goes to the original creators and copyright holders. Now, let's unravel this alternate reality. This was the fourth day of their training together. Naruko waited patiently while Hinata prepared their breakfast. She loved this kind of morning, where she could just be herself, no pretending, no forced smiles, just the quiet comfort of a friend nearby. On the first day, she had learned that Hinata wanted to create her own style of gentle fist, and also about the special condition her father had given her. At first, Naruko had felt frustrated, but Hinata reassured her it was okay and not to worry. Naruko quietly decided that Hinata's dad had officially earned a top spot on her getting pranked list. After breakfast, they focused on exploring their weaknesses and finding ways to grow stronger. Hinata had excellent chakra control, but her chakra reserves were limited and her stamina was low. To help with that, she woke up early each morning and jogged through Konoha alongside Naruko. They laughed as they raced, sometimes pretending to be ninja animals darting through the village. Naruko also helped Hinata become more flexible, letting her spar against 5 of Naruko's shadow clones at once. Although it was challenging, Hinata's determination and careful practice made her stronger each day. Naruko herself realized she had much to catch up on. Many of her classmates had been training at home or with their families for years, while she had mostly learned by observing. Still, she was determined to improve. She helped Hinata with her morning routine, while sending a clone off to practice her own taijutsu. The academy lessons felt limited, but with extra effort, she began to discover her hidden talents, especially in kenjutsu. In fact, she had even found a style that suited her perfectly. It had all started on the night of their first training day when she visited Iruka-sensei for guidance. Flashback. Hey, Iruka-sensei, are you there? Naruko knocked on the door. Ah, Naruko, come in. What are you doing here so late? Iruka asked, smiling as he opened the door. Naruko shuffled her feet nervously before speaking. Iruka-sensei, can you help me learn kenjutsu? Iruka's eyes widened in surprise. Kenjutsu was advanced for a Genin, but he was pleased by her ambition. Why do you want to learn kenjutsu, Naruko? He asked. Today, I started training with Hinata-chan, and we're going to train together until the team selection. While training, I realized I don't really know much, just my shadow clone jutsu. But Hinata has this amazing gentle fist style, and from what I've seen, most of my classmates already have strong techniques too. I want to learn something cool and strong for myself as well, Naruko explained, her eyes sparkling with determination. Iruka chuckled and motioned her inside. Well then, let's see what we can do. Back in the present, Naruko felt a warm sense of excitement. Every morning brought new discoveries, new laughter, and new ways to grow. She and Hinata trained not just to become stronger, but to enjoy the journey together, finding joy in every small victory and learning to celebrate the effort itself. And as the sun rose higher over Konoha, Naruko knew that this was only the beginning of many wonderful adventures ahead. The next day, Iruka gave Naruko a few beginner scrolls that taught different kenjutsu styles. Each one was interesting in its own way, but the moment Naruko saw the twin moon style, her heart skipped a beat. It felt perfect, as if it had been waiting just for her. This style used 2 swords, and its movements were spontaneous, flowing naturally with how she already moved. The only problem was that it was rare. The scroll contained only one technique, and even Iruka couldn't find the others. Its history was shrouded in mystery. Iruka handed Naruko some sturdy wooden practice swords instead of real ones and made her promise not to seek the real swords until she reached the level of a Jonin. She nodded eagerly and began practicing. Each night, she would create 20 to 30 shadow clones, practicing the basic sword movements and the single twin moon technique over and over until her arms ached but her spirit soared. Naruko told Hinata about her new training, and Hinata's eyes sparkled with excitement. Things were going smoothly, until Naruko learned about Hinata's father and his condition. At first, she was frustrated and upset, her fists clenching. But after Hinata calmed her down, Naruko's focus returned to training. They decided to expand their routine. Now, alongside sparring and physical exercises, they included chakra training and elemental practice. At night, Naruko trained her kenjutsu alone, while Hinata practiced her water element techniques at home. Flashback. Hinata-chan, do you know what your element is? Naruko asked after yet another defeat against the tricky poking dagger style. And no, I don't know, Naruko-chan, Hinata replied, her voice soft and uncertain. Naruko pulled out a piece of paper. Here, try this, she said, handing it over with a small, encouraging smile. Hinata tilted her head in confusion. For a moment, Naruko's heart stuttered. Hinata looked so sweet that Naruko almost forgot what she was doing. No, 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 she muttered to herself, shaking her head. Focus, Naruko. You concentrate your chakra into the paper, Naruko explained patiently. Depending on your element, the paper will react differently. How did you get this, Naruko-chan? Hinata asked, her eyes wide. Iruka-sensei gave it to me, Naruko said proudly, striking a little victory pose. Hinata giggled and concentrated, letting her chakra flow into the paper. Moments later, the paper grew damp. Wow! So water is your element. That's amazing, Naruko said, grinning. Now we can start our elemental training together. She held up a handful of leaves, ready to get to work. Back in the present, Naruko lay on the grass after another round of defeat at the cursed poking dagger style. She gazed at the sky, taking a deep breath. Reiju had said she was progressing well, but she still felt nervous. The biggest worry was not knowing when Raijin would test her. It could be today, or tomorrow. Raiju's voice echoed in her mind, calm and reassuring, you'll be ready when the time is right. Naruko shook herself from her thoughts and looked at Hinata, who seemed refreshed and ready. It was time to start the chakra training. A few hours later, they practiced water walking in a shallow pool. The water reached only their knees, so they stayed mostly dry. Their attempts weren't perfect, but that was okay, they planned to keep practicing tomorrow. Energy saved, they headed to Ichiraku for lunch, then returned to their training ground for the final exercise. How's your elemental training going, Hinata-chan? Naruko asked. She had learned from Iruka that the first step for lightning was crumpling a leaf to half its size, and for water, it was soaking a dry leaf completely in one attempt. Almost done. How about you, Naruko-chan? Hinata asked, her voice steady and confident. Training with Naruko had not only strengthened her skills but had given her courage and self-assurance. She still blushed sometimes when Naruko was close, but she stumbled less over her words and felt braver each day. Me too, Naruko admitted. I can almost make the leaf wrinkle perfectly every time, but not quite yet. A little more practice. They smiled at each other, two friends sharing dreams, leaves, and laughter, ready to grow stronger together, step by step. Hinata nodded and started her own training. For her, it wasn't enough to do a little at a time, she had to soak a single dry leaf completely using her chakra in one smooth motion. She glanced over at Naruko, who was using 5 shadow clones to help with her own training. Hinata's lips curved into a small pout. That felt like cheating. Determined to catch up, she continued practicing in secret at home, careful not to let her family or clan members notice. Her father was usually busy with Hanabi's training, and for once, Hinata was grateful for that. Whoa! I did it! One of Naruko's clones cheered. No sooner had she said that than another clone tossed a kunai, and the first clone disappeared instantly in a puff of smoke. I think I've got the hang of it, said the one who had thrown the kunai, the real Naruko, her brow furrowed but a proud smile on her face. The other clones gave her little murmurs of frustration. Tyrant, one muttered under her breath, earning a giggle from Hinata. She cherished these small, peaceful moments, hoping that many more would follow. At night, Naruko flopped onto her bed, utterly exhausted. Today, she and Hinata had completed the first step of their elemental training. After a short rest, Naruko had returned to the training grounds alone, summoning 20 shadow clones and practicing the twin moon-style kenjutsu for 3 hours straight. There was a particular technique she liked, though it was tricky to control, so she pushed herself further. Her body felt numb from the effort, but she was determined, just 3 more days until the break was over. Hanging in there, kid? Raiju's voice made Naruko groan without opening her eyes. She barely had the energy to answer. Reiju chuckled. I must say, your progress is impressive, especially with your kenjutsu. Though, seeing that you have Uzumaki blood, I suppose it was bound to happen. Naruko managed a tired smile. Raiju's eyes twinkled as an idea came to him. Here's a deal. If you master that kenjutsu technique and finish the second step of the lightning element training by the end of the week, I'll teach you a storm release technique that works with swords. Naruko's eyes went wide. Are you serious? You'll really teach me a storm release technique? Only if you complete the 2 tasks I set, Reiju said firmly. Naruko wanted to leap and shout with joy, but she saved that celebration for tomorrow. Instead, she sank back into her bed, falling asleep almost instantly. 3 days later. Naruko dressed in her new training outfit, securing her twin wooden swords in their special positions, one at her waist, the other across her back. The scroll's instructions had been clear, the unique placement gave more flexibility for the twin moon style. She was excited. The night before, she had completed both her elemental exercises and mastered a few kenjutsu techniques, including the intercepting step and the twin moon style's basic loose scissor. Reiju had congratulated her warmly, promising to teach her first storm release technique. Today was team selection day, but first she had to fetch Hinata. Her friend's father had a test planned, and Hinata needed to pass it. What a load of nonsense, Hinata muttered yesterday night, inviting Naruko to witness the test. With a nod, Naruko had agreed without hesitation. At the Hyuga compound, Naruko saw Hinata waiting outside the gate. Today, she wore a light lavender jacket matching her eyes and knee-length pants softly tinted like her hair. Her growing figure and delicate presence made Naruko pause for a brief second, though she quickly shook off the thought. Hello, Naruko-kun. Thank you for coming, Hinata said, her eyes downcast. Naruko nudged her playfully. Don't worry, Hinata-chan. You'll do great, I know it. Hinata's blush faded a little as she relaxed, leading Naruko into the Hyuga's private dojo. Inside, several stern-looking Hyugas were seated, including Hinata's father and some elders. Naruko bowed respectfully, though she secretly thought they all seemed too stiff. Among them, one boy caught her eye. He had a flicker of disgust when he saw Hinata but quickly masked it with a stoic expression. Naruko ignored him, focusing on Hinata instead. Hinata stood in the middle of the dojo, facing her father. Across from her was another girl who looked tense and unsure how to smile. Naruko grinned quietly to herself. At least Hinata stands out, she thought, ready to cheer her friend on. Hiyashi returned the bow, but he noticed how restless Naruko seemed. He couldn't quite understand why. He motioned for both of his daughters to come to the center of the dojo. The test for Hinata was to spar with her younger sister, Hanabi, to show her improvement. In truth, the elders didn't expect Hinata to win, but they hoped she wouldn't be completely defeated either. Hajime. Hanabi, with her traditional gentle fist style, dashed toward Hinata. Just like in their previous practice matches, Hinata dodged gracefully. But this time, something different happened. As she avoided Hanabi's strikes, Hinata began lightly tapping at Hanabi's small chakra points, not to hurt her, but to slow her down. Hiyashi and the elders exchanged surprised glances. It wasn't just dodging anymore, Hinata was learning to fight smart. A minute later, Hanabi was panting, her movements slower as Hinata's gentle strikes took effect. Determined, Hanabi charged at her sister, but Hinata was ready. With a swift sidestep, she lightly tapped Hanabi on the shoulder, making her stumble just enough to fall safely on the floor. The dojo fell silent. Hinata had won, and yet the elders frowned. While I appreciate that you defeated your sister, Hinata, your style is unusual, one elder said. We wanted to see your progress in the gentle fist, not this. Naruko's eyes flashed. She won, and you're not satisfied? She demanded, stepping forward. Hiyashi quickly intervened. Naruko, calm yourself. And Hinata, we are proud of your victory. But the elders wished to see the traditional style practiced carefully. Naruko crossed her arms. She beat her sister and used gentle fist at the same time. Isn't that enough? Some elders chuckled, which only made Naruko's eyes narrow. This isn't just a fight, one elder said softly. It's about growth, not winning alone. The first elder proposed, why not have Neji spar with Hinata next? Then we'll truly see her progress. Hinata's shoulders tensed. Naruko stepped beside her and whispered, you can do it, Hinata. I believe in you. That's all that matters. Hiyashi watched carefully. Hinata nodded, determination in her eyes despite a hint of nervousness. Neji stepped into the center and assumed the gentle fist stance. Hajime. Hinata's heart raced. Neji was fast and precise. He had practiced this style his whole life, and he had seen her movements before. She knew this match would be challenging. Naruko's presence gave her courage, though, and she focused on moving faster than before. Neji's strikes came in a flurry. Hinata dodged and blocked as best she could, landing small taps on his chakra points whenever she found an opening. Neji's attacks were stronger, faster, and more precise than Hanabi's, and soon Hinata felt herself tiring. I won't. Give up, Hinata panted. I won't. Back down. Neji paused, glancing at the elders, who nodded. Very well, he said, and resumed his gentle attacks. Hinata struggled to keep up, but Naruko's encouraging gaze helped her push just a little further. Finally, Neji delivered a controlled strike to Hinata's chest. She stumbled backward, but Naruko was there to catch her, steadying her safely. Naruko's eyes blazed with protective determination. Stay calm, she told Hinata, her voice soft but firm. You tried your best, and that's what matters. Neji smirked, trying to provoke Naruko. She even tried a different style. But it's useless. You're both wasting your time. Naruko straightened, her grin playful yet confident. A different style? That's called being creative. And we never waste time when we're learning. Hiashi sighed but smiled. He could see how much Naruko had grown in just 1 week. She had learned not only to fight but to protect and encourage others. The elders murmured among themselves, but Hiashi raised a hand. This is enough for today. Hinata, you have improved greatly. Naruko, your courage and support have shown as much growth as your skills. That is what matters most. Naruko winked at Hinata. See? We're a team. And teams always look out for each other. Hinata smiled, a bright, confident smile for the first time in the day. Together, sisters and friend, they left the dojo feeling stronger, not just in their arms, but in their hearts. Flashback. What on earth is this intercepting step? Do I have to dash quickly to get close to my opponent? Naruko frowned, twisting her head. She had been excited to learn this new technique, but now it was confusing her. Naruko, tell me about it. Maybe I can help, Reiju said, his fluffy ears twitching. It had been a while since he spoke with Naruko, as she had been busy practicing or resting after long training sessions. Naruko's eyes lit up. She missed her companion. It says that I have to make a small dash using one leg and land on the other to get the opponent inside my range really fast. But I don't understand what that even means. Reiju tilted his head thoughtfully. Range, huh? Let me explain. Your range is the distance you're comfortable at when practicing your moves. It's how close or far you can be while attacking, defending, or dodging. Every fighter has it. This technique. It's meant to help you get into your best position before your opponent can react. If you master it, you can use it together with other moves. Naruko blinked, unsure. Together with other moves? I still don't get it. You're clever, Reiju chuckled. Think about it. You'll figure it out. Dash. The match. In a flash of determination, Naruko moved closer to her sparring partner. She gracefully adjusted her stance, and with a clever pivot, she lightly tapped his arm, signaling her movement without causing harm. Her partner's eyes widened in surprise, and Naruko smiled, pleased that she had executed the step perfectly. Her momentum carried her forward, allowing her to gently tag him again, this time on the shoulder. He laughed, more surprised than hurt, as Naruko's strategy began to unfold. The audience watching gasped, not in alarm, but in admiration of her skill and creativity. Naruko's moves were precise and thoughtful. She used her balance, timing, and cleverness to stay one step ahead. Each tap and pivot was playful yet controlled. The sparring match became a dance, showcasing her agility, intelligence, and determination. Finally, she spun and lightly tapped her partner on the back, signaling the end of their playful duel. Everyone applauded. Naruko's eyes sparkled with pride. She had learned how to use the intercepting step, and in doing so, she had learned more about herself than the technique itself. Dash. With Hinata. Hinata slowly opened her eyes in the clan's infirmary, stretching her arms. She remembered the sparring match and felt a mix of disappointment and curiosity.
I didn't win, she whispered softly.
Hi there. Naruko's cheerful voice filled the room as she bounded in. Her bright smile made Hinata's heart lift immediately. Hinata smiled back faintly. Naruko. You were amazing out there. I wish I could be that good. Naruko shook her head. Don't say that. You followed your heart and your style, and that's what really matters. You did your best, and that's enough for now. Besides, your style is special, it's yours. I'll help you make it even stronger. Hinata felt warmth spread through her chest. Really? Of course. Now, rest up. Your body needs it before our next adventure, Naruko said, putting a gentle hand on her shoulder. Hinata giggled at Naruko's mock-serious tone. They settled into a calm silence, both smiling. Outside, a gentle breeze rustled the leaves of the trees, and somewhere, Reiju watched, proud of Naruko and the friendship she had nurtured. An hour later. Naruko and Hinata reached the academy after an hour and a half. Hinata was feeling much better after the rest, though her chest still ached a little, but the pain was far less than before. As they entered the classroom, the lively chatter inside quieted immediately. Everyone turned to look at them with wide eyes. Some of the girls whispered and compared Naruko's confident stride and sharp gaze to Sasuke's, while many of the boys couldn't stop staring at Hinata, who now stood out more than ever. A few muttered in frustration. They knew they wouldn't get a chance to be on her team unless fate smiled upon them. "Sorry, Iruka-sensei. We got held up on the way here. I hope we didn't miss our team selection," Naruko said, her bright eyes sparkling with energy. Hinata gave a small, shy smile beside her. "Nope, we're just getting to the final names. Go ahead and take a seat. By the way, Naruko, that outfit suits you. Hinata, you look lovely too." Iruka-sensei's kind words brought warmth to both their hearts, and a few classmates nodded in agreement. "Thanks, Iruka-sensei," Naruko said cheerfully. Thank you, Iruka-sensei," Hinata replied politely, her cheeks tinged with pink. The two of them made their way to the back of the room. Naruko paused for a moment to glance at Sakura but then continued beside Hinata. "Okay, Team 7 will be Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and the new transfer student Sai," Iruka announced. There was a tiny squabble between Sakura and Ino, but it was quickly quelled by Iruka's firm voice. Team 8 is Kiba Inuzuka, Shino Aburame, and Hinata Hyuga. Shino's calm demeanor remained unchanged, but Kiba smirked and winked at Hinata. He faltered the instant he caught Naruko's fierce, protective gaze. For some reason, he couldn't muster the usual playful challenge. Naruko didn't notice that she had instinctively stepped just a little closer to Hinata. Hinata felt her cheeks warm and smiled shyly. Over the past week, Hinata realized she might finally have a chance to get Naruko's attention. Sometimes, Naruko's intense gaze lingered in ways that were new and exciting, and although it could be intimidating, Hinata found herself curious and a little thrilled. Today, instead of sitting near Sakura, Naruko chose to sit beside her. Most of the other students noticed, but Naruko didn't seem to care. Her focus was entirely on protecting Hinata from prying eyes. Hinata giggled quietly and leaned closer to her. "Now that's all the teams," Iruka continued. "But Naruko, your situation is a little special. You've been requested for an apprenticeship, and your mentor will come for you sometime soon." Among the crowd, two faces stood out the most. Naruko wondered why she was chosen and felt a flicker of disappointment for not joining a team with Sakura or Hinata. The second was Sasuke, who looked pleased at the idea of a one-on-one apprenticeship. He preferred working alone, rather than with a team. Soon, each team sensei arrived and led their students away. One newcomer, however, entered the room and, without glancing at anyone else, looked straight at Naruko. He had short brown hair and calm black eyes and wore a Jonin uniform. "Naruko Uzumaki, meet me at Ichiraku. We'll have our lunch there," he said, and then he was gone. Naruko tilted her head, puzzled. How does he know that's my favorite place? She wondered. She decided she'd find out soon enough. Ichiraku's place. Naruko arrived 10 minutes later to find her new mentor already seated. She sat down beside him. "Before we begin, let's introduce ourselves," he said politely. "I'm Yamato. I used to be in the Anbu, but now I'm a full-time Jonin. I enjoy taking care of the trees and plants at my home. My dream is to reach the level of a certain person, in skill and reputation." "I'm Naruko Uzumaki," she replied with a grin. "I love training, ramen, and my friends. My dream is to earn someone's recognition." Yamato smiled. "We have that in common. Let's finish our lunch and then head to Training Ground 6. I'll explain more there. Sound good?" Naruko, though impatient, knew she had to wait. She dug into her ramen happily. Training Ground 6. When they arrived, Yamato had avoided using Sunshine, wanting to see if Naruko could keep up. She did, and though he didn't push himself fully, he was impressed. "Okay," Naruko said, "can I ask my questions now? I've been waiting." Yamato chuckled. "Sure. You want to know how I knew about you and why I chose you, right?" Naruko nodded. "I've been watching you for the past week," Yamato said. "I observed your actions to see where you stand. As a result, I could test your resolve and skills. You passed your first Shinhan exam, but there's another test after team selection with only a 33% success rate." He smirked at her surprised expression. "I also saw that fight with Hyuga Neji. You performed admirably, even better than I expected. It seems you have a lot of potential. Naruko grinned, her eyes sparkling. Then I guess I'll have to work even harder. Yamato nodded approvingly. Exactly. Now, let's start training. Naruko felt a thrill of excitement. This was the start of a new adventure, one that was sure to be full of friendship, challenges, and a little magic of her own. Flashback. You called for me, Hokage-sama? Yamato asked as he stepped into the office and knelt respectfully before Sandaime. Yes, I did. Relax, we have much to discuss about your new assignment, Tenzo. It's about our young blonde prankster, and I hope you read the file concerning her, the Hokage said, watching Yamato nod. You are to be her mentor from now on. I will instate you as a full-time Jonin, as you are to take her as your apprentice. With all due respect, Hokage-sama, why me? Yamato inquired, a hint of curiosity in his tone. On the document, it is because of your special condition. It will be helpful to guide Naruko if her energy ever becomes too much to control, and if I present your abilities to the clan heads, they might agree to the plan I have in mind. It will also help the advisors, and especially Danzo, to step back from interfering with her, Hiruzen explained while blowing on his pipe. So what is my real job? Yamato asked, leaning forward slightly. Hiruzen chuckled softly. No wonder you are one of the top Anbu. Your job, as I said, is to train Naruko, be her true mentor, and report to me only about matters that could be harmful if they fell into the wrong hands. And one more thing, you know Danzo as well as I do, so keep an eye out for anything unusual. Hi, Hokage-sama, Yamato replied earnestly. Good. And from now on, your codename will be Yamato, the Hokage added. Flashback ends. Wait, did you see the matches? I didn't see you there, Naruko asked, squinting as if she should have noticed someone as distinctive as Yamato. I asked Hashi-sama the night before if it was okay for me to watch, to evaluate your behavior concerning Hinata's fight. He gave me permission, Yamato explained. I didn't know you would get to fight yourself, but that was a bonus. I'm impressed with your abilities, but try not to be too harsh during friendly sparring. Naruko shook her head, a playful grin spreading across her face. So you said I passed the second test. What are we supposed to do now? D-rank missions, you can do those by yourself. But I'll try to coordinate with other senseis to see if you can join their groups temporarily for other missions. Also, we will act as backup for C-rank missions with other Genin teams, Yamato explained, carefully outlining the plan. Naruko's eyes sparkled with excitement. She couldn't wait to start her life as a Genin and discover all the adventures waiting for her. Every mission felt like a doorway to new friends, new challenges, and new laughter. Guys, that wraps up everything for today. I hope you found the content engaging and insightful. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any of the exciting content coming your way. Your support truly makes a difference and keeps this journey going. Thank you for taking the time to watch, for being part of this growing community, and for encouraging me to keep creating. Every view, every comment, and every share is appreciated more than you know. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and remember, this is just the beginning. Thank you again. Regards. Anime Octopus.